Good afternoon, everybody. This is Nasumi Kajitani from Embassy of India, Tokyo. Before webinar starts, we would like to request panelists to note following points. Keep your audio and video muted, except when you are called up to speak for your presentation. Please use only one device in a room, otherwise there is likely to be an echo sound. There is a Q&A box below the video. When panelists receive questions from participants through Q&A box, you may answer it either privately or publicly. Please keep in mind that all the publicly answered questions will be available for all the participants to view. In case you answer privately, only the participants who asked the question will be able to see the answer. Today, interpreter will summarize in Japanese or English after all the presentation is done. We request panelists to conclude presentation 4 minutes before your allocated time for summary interpretation and announcement. 本日は日印ビデオ会議電気自動車分野挑戦と対等する商機にご参加いただきまして誠にありがとうございます。本日のウェブセミナーは駐日インド大使館主催日本貿易振興機構ジェトロ、日印経済委員会、インド重工業省、インベストインディア、グジャラート州、カルナータカ州政府のご協力のもと開催させていただきます。司会は私、インド大使館の梶谷、通訳は同じくインド大使館の土屋と星野が務めさせていただきます。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。Thank you for your participation for India-Japan webinar on electric vehicle sector, challenges and emerging opportunities today. This webinar is organized by Embassy of India, Tokyo, in association with Japan External Trade Organization, JETRO, Japan-India Business Cooperation Committee, Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, Government of India, Invest India, State Governments of Gujarat and Karnataka. ウェブセミナー開始までに参加者の皆様にお願い事項を申し上げます。参加者は講演中であっても、Zoom の Q&A 機能を利用してパネリストへ質問を送信できます。ご質問は講演中でも順次受け付けておりますので、質疑応答の時間までに質問したい登壇者名をご記入の上、パネリストへご送信ください。いただいたご質問は質疑応答の時間もしくはチャット機能を通して回答されます。ネットワーキングでは B2B ミーティングに関心を示していただいた日本とインドの企業様のリストを表示し、希望される企業様より会社紹介をしていただきます。参加者はオンラインチャット機能を使い、ご自身でこれらの企業にコンタクトし、B2B ミーティングを設定いただけます。本日のウェブセミナーは YouTube のライブストリーミングでもご視聴いただけます。もし技術的な問題で Zoom にアクセスできない参加者がいらっしゃいましたら、インド大使館の Facebook ページでアップしている YouTube リンクからアクセスくださいませ。なお、本日の通訳は登壇者が英語もしくは日本語で全て発表し終わった後、別の言語で要約として通訳いたします。We would like to request participants to note following points. During webinar, participants can send their questions to panelists through Zoom function Q&A. Questions will be answered only during Q&A session or through online chat. During networking session, list of the companies which indicated interest in business-to-business meetings will be shown on the screen. If you wish to introduce your company to other participants, please send a message to host through chat. The company can introduce themselves in 1 to 2 minutes during the online networking session and delegates are free to contact these companies over online chat to schedule B2B meetings. This webinar is available to watch from YouTube as well. If you have technical trouble for accessing Zoom, we may request you to view from YouTube. Please visit Facebook page of Embassy of India, Tokyo. Link of the YouTube is shared in our Facebook page. Thank you for your cooperation.それでは、ただいまより、日印ビデオ会議、電気自動車分野、挑戦と対等する商機を開始いたします。はじめに、駐日インド大使館、経済商務担当講師、モナ・カンダールより、開会と歓迎のご挨拶を申し上げます。First, I would like to request Ms. Mona Kandar, Minister Economic and Commerce, Embassy of India, Tokyo, to give the opening and welcome remarks.
Konnichiwa, Namaste. Distinguished panelists and delegates, post-COVID-19, where world, including Japan and India, has realized the necessity to diversify regional and global value chain, emerging sectors like electric vehicle offer us an opportunity to realign bilateral trade and investment collaboration, improving recovery rate to almost 64% from 11% and dropping fatality rate from 3.13% to 2.3%, better health facilities and successful containment in metropolis have given India the space to normalize economic activities. Indian economy, including auto sector, is witnessing green shoots, considering indicators like power consumption and generation of e-way bills. Capital markets are on recovery path. Good harvest and monsoon have led to revival of rural demand for tractors and two-wheelers. Tilting preference to private transport has led to higher demand for passenger vehicles. Japanese automakers have played a pivotal role in Indo-Japan industrial collaboration. Toyota is looking at enhancing localization to de-risk business from foreign exchange fluctuation and supply chain crisis. Maruti Suzuki has increased localization to the extent of about 85%. Toyota Kirloskar Motor and Maruti Suzuki are consolidating their base and business in India. French automaker Renault introduced automated manual transmission trims for a couple of its models and consolidated its rural India base. In 2020, India has drawn foreign direct investment of about $200 billion so far. Apple has begun to produce iPhone 11 in India, and Google has announced its investment plans in India. With more than 1440 Japanese companies, 5,000 Japanese business establishment, and Japanese FDI among top 5, contributing about 7% of total FDI in India, a good groundwork is prepared for Make in India investment by Japanese companies. However, investment in India forms just about 2% of Japan's total investments. Therefore, there is a lot of potential to enhance Japanese investment in India, including sectors like auto parts, auto electronics, auto technical textiles, etc. Under the aegis of Indo-Japan Industrial Cooperation Competitiveness, both the countries are considering to hold a joint market study on a couple of important aspects of auto industries in India. Government of Japan has $2.2 billion program for diversification of value chain to ASEAN, etc. in critical sectors, including auto parts. Japanese companies contemplating diversification to India become eligible where it strengthens Japan-ASEAN value chain for this program. Such companies are likely to be additionally benefited by incentive schemes of Government of India and state governments in India. Very recently, Government of Japan has also announced Japanese yen 100 million program for Japanese companies to expand their activities in India under digital partnership. The going forward for auto sector in India is electric vehicles. Though improved conventional automobiles are also going to stay there for some time. Government of India has given a boost to electric vehicle sector since 2015 with FAME 1 policy initiative. The policy support is further enhanced with FAME Phase 2 announced in 2019. Japanese automakers have taken a lead in electric vehicle sector as well. Toyota Kirloskar Motor is planning to produce hybrid systems in India, combining conventional combustion engine with an electric motor to run the vehicle. Maruti Suzuki and Toshiba are going to operationalize lithium-ion battery plant very soon. Government of India's Atmanirbhar Bharat stimulus of rupees 21 trillion, which is about 10% of India's GDP, entails a series of reforms extending to hitherto untouched sectors besides huge funding support such that it ensures higher GDP in future to create additional fiscal space. Its main objective is to make India self-reliant by opening up Indian economy further to promote manufacturing in and exports from India. Coal mining sector is opened up to private sector with easy entry and revenue sharing norms on ad valorem basis. Very recently, Honorable Prime Minister unveiled auction process for 41 coal mines. For mineral sector, a seamless composite exploration, mining, production regime is introduced. 500 mining blocks would be offered through open and transparent auction process. Joint auction of bauxite and coal mining mineral blocks is introduced to enhance aluminium industry's competitiveness and thereby reduce electricity costs. Power sector reforms are carried forward to revise tariff policy to protect consumer rights and promote industries. Electricity distribution will be privatized in union territories on pilot basis. Incentive schemes will be launched for promotion of new champion sectors such as solar PV manufacturing, advanced cell battery storage, etc. These reforms will create a huge impact on overall efficiency of energy and power sector, hugely benefiting electric vehicle sector thereby. Incentive schemes have been announced for electronics, mobile, pharma, and medical devices for diversification of value chain in these sectors. Recently announced $5.3 billion production-linked incentive scheme in electronics sector has generated a lot of interest among global leaders like Samsung, Pegatron, Foxconn, Wistron, Honhai, Lava Mobiles, Micromax, Dixon, Paget, Sojo, and Optimus. Samsung is investing rupees 50 billion to double its capacity in India. According to ICEA, about rupees 110 billion investment has been committed so far. The scheme for promotion of manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors, specs, importantly covers auto electronics as well. With reforms in MSMEs and Companies Act and huge funding support for businesses, including MSMEs, a good stage is set to enhance auto and EV ecosystem. The taxation framework is reformed to promote Make in India. The corporate tax is slashed by half to 15%, now one of the lowest in the world. Dividend distribution tax is withdrawn. GST, goods and service tax on electric vehicle is reduced to 5% only. India is constantly improving its investment climate. Its global ease of doing business ranking surged to 63rd in 2019. It rose to 52nd position in Global Innovation Index, and it climbed to 44th rank in Logistics Performance Index. It is improved to 68th rank in Global Competitiveness Index, and recently India moved to third position from fourth in Global Manufacturing Index. The next phase of ease of doing business is taken up on a mission mode in India to include easy registration for property, quick disposal of commercial disputes, and initiating a single tax regime. Information on availability of industrial land bank for promoting new investments will be provided through Industrial Information System with GIS mapping. India enjoys a unique advantage of human resources that is both characteristics: low cost, skilled workforce, and innovative brains leading startups. India has one of the largest startup ecosystems. This sector is Government of India's priority to provide comprehensive support of funding, policy push, and ecosystem. India has matured from being an outsourcing hub to a design hub. Almost all multinationals have set up their design centers in India. 1,400 plus design centers in India are employing more than 900,000 professionals, including names like NEC, Rakuten, Sony, Nissan, etc. India is all set for indigenous 5G network. Artificial intelligence and Internet of Things are new growth areas for startup. In fintech segment, India has taken over China for third position. US $1.4 trillion India infrastructure pipeline policy covers more than 6,500 projects in 22 sectors for next 5 years and allocates highest resources to road connectivity projects. National logistics policy aims at reducing logistics cost from 14% to 10%. To boost Make in India and export from India. All these measures will further brighten the prospects of electric vehicle in India and help resolve challenges like expanding efficient charging infrastructure in electrical vehicle segment. Indo-Japan friendship has led to Japan-specific facilitation as well, like specially built Japan Industrial Townships, Japan-India Institute for Manufacturing for sector-specific skilling of Indian workers. We are all exploring together the possibility of bilateral auto and electric vehicle dialogue as well. Indian subsidiaries have outperformed parent companies in terms of revenue, net profit, and internal rate of return. Considering advantages like democracy, rule of law, strategic location, and others, India is rated as a top destination for foreign direct investment by Bloomberg Media and JBIC. India has taken up unconventional reforms to complete the cycle of an open economy. This is the right time for Japanese investors to expand their base in India. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu.
コロナ後の拡大が見込まれる EV をはじめとする新しい分野は二国間貿易と投資協力を再編する機会を提供しています。自動車部門を含むインド経済には新たな成長の兆しが見えています。印日間の産業連携では日本の自動車メーカーが中心的な役割を果たしています。トヨタキルロスタカールモーターやマルティスズキはインド国内での生産を強化しています。2020年の現在までにインドには200億ドルの海外直接投資が流入しています。印日政府はインドの自動車産業の重要な側面について共同市場調査を行うことを検討しています。インドの自動車産業において成長が期待できる新分野は EV です。インド政府は現在第2期にあるフェイム政策により EV 化を促進しています。インド政府が GDP の 10% にあたる21兆ルピーを配分した経済刺激策自立したインドはインドのエネルギー分野の問題を総合的に解決することを目指していますが、これにより EV 部門も大きな利益を得ることが予測されています。最近、インド政府が発表したエレクトロニクス部門向けの53億ドル規模の生産に連動したインセンティブスキームは、サムソンをはじめとするグローバル企業の多くの関心を引きつけています。業界団体の ICEA によると、この政策に関連する1100億ルピーの投資がすでにコミットされています。重要なことに自動車エレクトロニクスはこの政策に含まれています。 零細中小企業の改革と企業法の改正は自動車と EV エコシステムを強化するための好機となっています。税制改革も進んでおり、法人税も5割引き下げられて 15% になり、配当分配税が廃止されました。インドのビジネスのしやすさ指数などにおけるインドの順位は最近大幅に上昇しています。インド独自の技能を持った人材、大規模なスタートアップエコシステム、道路やその他のインフラ開発の促進は、インドにおける EV の見通しをさらに明るくし、EV 部門における効率的な充電インフラの拡大などの課題の解決に貢献するでしょう。日日間の友好関係を反映するように、日本に特化した支援策が数多くあります。国際銀行やブルームバーグは民主主義、法の支配、戦略的立地などの利点から、インドを最も好ましい海外直接投資先と評価しています。
Next, I would like to request Mr. Kiyoshi Hikino, Director for Automotive Industry and Industrial Competitiveness, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industries, to give the presentation on the growing significance of xEVs in India and Japan's cooperation. 続きまして、経済産業省、製造産業局自動車課参事官、引野清様より、インドと日本の協力における電動車の重要性の高まりについてご講演いただきます。引野様、よろしくお願いいたします。
ありがとうございます。Thank you very much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kiyoshi Hikino from Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. I'm in charge of Japanese automotive policy, especially focusing on CASE, including electrification. It is an honor for me to make a speech in this webinar today, and I'd like to thank Embassy of India to give me an opportunity. Since I have heard that today's webinar is held by English-Japanese translation, I would like to speak in Japanese. 新型コロナウイルスの感染拡大により、私たちは人々の健康を守ることと経済活動の両立という難しい課題に現在直面しています。しかし我々はウイルスとの戦いの中でもウィズコロナ、そしてアフターコロナの世界について考えていく必要があります。本日このウェビナーがタイムリーに行われることは非常に有意義であって敬意を表したいというふうに考えております。またこうした新型コロナの拡大の中で人々の考え方や行動が大きく変わりつつあるというふうに認識しております。とりわけモビリティの分野でおいても公共交通機関からパーソナルモビリティへのシフトや宅配サービスの増加といった動きが見られます。こうした環境変化の中で自動車産業の重要性はさらに高まっていくということも想定されます。日本とインドは自動車分野において長い間緊密な相互の協力関係を築いてきております。自動車産業はインドにおいては GDP の 7% を占め、約3700万人の雇用を支える重要産業であるというふうに認識しています。インドの四輪販売市場の過去10年間の年平均の成長率は 6%、また昨年2019年の日系メーカーのシェアは 47.5% ということであります。日系企業は長年にわたってインド市場で共存共栄をしてきておりまして、まさにこれは日印の産業協力の象徴といっても過言ではないと考えています。こうした中で自動車の電動化は大気汚染問題への対応や原油輸入量の減少といったメリットがあり、インドにとって自動車の電動化が果たす役割は非常に大きいというふうに認識しております。その中でも特にハイブリッド自動車については既存インフラで直ちに効果を出せる低燃費の技術として重要と考えています。日本企業はハイブリッド自動車のインドでの生産や車載用のバッテリー工場の設立などすでに積極的に投資を行ってきています。今後も引き続き日本企業がインドにおいて貢献をしていけるよう両国の協力関係が深まることを期待しています。一方で昨年からインドの自動車販売市場が 低迷してきた中で、今回のコロナの感染拡大が追い打ちとなって、自動車各社の販売実績に多大な影響が出ているというふうに認識をしています。今年の4月から6月は市場全体で約 80% の販売減少であったというふうに認識をしています。こうした市場の低迷が長引くと、企業は大規模な投資や拠点の設立を計画しづらくなり、中長期的にも競争力の低下にもつながりかねない、こうしたことにならないよう、インド政府が、自動車業界と密接にコミュニケーションを取りながら、需要の刺激策を検討されることも、私どもとしては期待したいと思います。今後も引き続き、日本政府は日本の企業、日本の自動車産業とともに、ハイブリッド自動車を含む電動車の普及に関して、インド政府と協力していきたいと思います。本日はありがとうございます。Thank you.
Due to the spread of the new coronavirus, we are faced with the difficult task of balancing economic activity with protecting people's health. We are right in the middle of the fight against the virus, but we also need to think about the world in which we have to coexist with the new coronavirus and the world after the virus. I would like to pay my respect to the Embassy of India for organizing this timely and meaningful webinar today. In this changing environment, the importance of the automotive industry is expected to increase further. Japan and India have a long history of close mutual communication in the automotive sector. The automotive industry is a key industry, accounting for 7% of India's GDP and employing 37 million people in India. The four-wheeled vehicle market has grown at the compound annual growth rate of 6% over the past decade, with a 47.5% share of Japanese manufacturers in 2019. Japanese companies have been coexisting and prospering in collaboration with Indian companies. It is no exaggeration to say that they symbolize the India-Japan Industrial Cooperation. The electrification of automobiles can address air pollution problems and reduce crude oil imports, and it is recognized that the electrification of automobiles plays a very important role for India. Hybrid electric vehicles are particularly important as a fuel-efficient technology that can be used in existing infrastructure with immediate effect. Japanese companies have already been active in investing in the production of hybrid vehicles and the establishment of car battery plants in India. I hope that the Japan-India cooperation will deepen so that Japanese companies can continue to make contributions to to India's development in the future. While the Indian automobile market has been sluggish since last year, the COVID-19 outbreak has had a significant impact on the sales performance of automakers. The overall sales declined by 80% between April and June. If the market slump continues for a prolonged period of time, it will be difficult for companies to plan large-scale investments and the establishment of new bases, which may lead to a decline in competitiveness in the mid to long term. We would like to continue to work together with the Indian government to promote xEVs, including hybrid vehicles. Thank you.
続きまして、インド政府重工業局次官補アミット・バラタン様よりセクター概要と政策についてご講演いただきます。Next, I would like to request Mr. Amit Baladan, Joint Secretary, Department of Heavy Industries, to give the presentation on sector overview and government policies.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to be on this forum and address this August gathering. I would be speaking on the policies of the Government of India to promote the EV sector, the challenges that we face, and the opportunities that are available. The Government of India made its first foray into this sector through a scheme which has come to be known as FAME. It is an acronym for Faster Adoption and Manufacturing of Hybrid and Electric Vehicles. This scheme was started in April 2015 and it went on till March 2019. The basic idea was to give demand incentives, that is subsidies, to promote the usage, the purchase and usage of e-vehicles of all kinds, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and e-buses. So the price upfront was reduced by the amount of subsidy which the government provided. In addition, subsidy was also provided on setting up charging stations in cities. So during this period, the government spent about 900 crores and it supported about 2.8 lakh hybrid and electric vehicles. 417 e-buses were deployed across 10 cities. 500 charging stations were
Excuse me,
sanctioned.
Amit ji,
Yes.
आपका presentation आप load करना.
Yeah, we had shared it with. It's not there.
No, presentation नहीं है.
अच्छा अच्छा.
और अगर आपका और कोई डिवाइस चालू है तो आप बंद कर दीजिए, अदरवाइज इको साउंड आएगा.
No, there's no other device.
अब वो
I
शेयर
think
स्क्रीन से उसको शेयर कर लीजिए.
that will take time. Can I continue like this? Because I thought it had been shared. Just.
आ गया, आपका लोड हो गया.
We have shared from host.
Yeah, I thought it has been shared, so that's why. Please go to the first slide. So I'm speaking on this, the first part thing. So as I was saying, demand incentives were provided to e-vehicles and to charging stations. And there was another component of R&D projects. We invested in various R&D projects across the country. So projects worth 158 crores were sanctioned. So that was the first phase. Based on the success and the learnings of the FAME scheme, we started phase 2 of FAME in April 2019. So this is a more ambitious scheme. It envisages outlay of 10,000 crores over 3 years. And here the basic model is again provision of subsidy to vehicles and to charging stations. But this subsidy is linked to the battery capacity of vehicles. So basically it is 10,000 rupees per kilowatt hour for all vehicles except for buses, for which it is 20,000 rupees per kilowatt hour. And here the ambition is to support 1 million two-wheelers, 0.5 million three-wheelers, 55,000 cars, and 7,000 e-buses. That is the scope. And we are providing charging infrastructure. We have issued letters of award to 2,636 charging stations. There is a focus on public and shared vehicles. It is not for personalized four-wheeler transport. It is for shared applications. Now this supports all the zero-emission vehicles, which includes hybrid as well as electric vehicles. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, some other initiatives were also taken apart from FAME. Permits have been exempted for electric vehicles. Then we have given permission to import 2,500 vehicles. This was done in September 2018. This has enabled the import and registration of vehicles complying with the equivalent foreign national standards. Then another step was taken that the existing IC vehicles, the internal combustion engine vehicles, were permitted to be retrofitted with electrical kit so as to make them EVs. So this was done in March 2019. Then the custom duty has been reduced to promote EVs on electric vehicles, its assemblies, sub-assemblies, and parts, etc. of the sub-assembly. Then another major step was taken to reduce the general sales tax on EVs in July 2019. It has now been reduced to a very small percentage of 5. Can we go to the next one, please? Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So now a brief thing about the FAME scheme. As I had said, the number of vehicles that we are supporting, that's mentioned. The approximate size of battery varies as shown in the 4th column. And the approximate incentive category wise is also mentioned. It's about 20,000 for two-wheelers, 50,000 for three-wheelers, 1,50,000 for four-wheelers, 13,000 for the four-wheeler strong hybrid car. And for e-buses, it's a range from 35 lakhs to 60 lakhs, depending on the size of the bus. The average incentive is about 50 lakhs. So we are spending a total of 8,596 crores over these 3 years to incentivize these vehicles. Of course, there's a maximum cutoff of ex-factory price, which has to be there to avail incentive. So this is the FAME 2 scheme, and it has taken off very well. Can we go to the next slide? Can we go to the next one? Yeah. Now, this is the figure of the sale of electric vehicles ever since this scheme started. As you can see, from April 19, when it started, till now, about 23,900 vehicles of these three categories have been incentivized. The total number of vehicles of the E category is 3,31,041. So it is catching up, and we are open to providing more and more incentives. Can we go to the next one, please? Now, this is a very important component of the FAME scheme, deployment of electric buses. We had issued an EOI, an expression of interest, for deployment of 5,000 buses, and we received 87 proposals for sanctioning 15,000 e-buses. So there was a huge demand for this. Finally, we sanctioned 5,595 e-buses, of which 5,095 were for intra-city, within the city operations. This was done to 64 cities. 400 e-buses were sanctioned for intercity, between city operations, and 100 e-buses for the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. These are feeder services to the metro service in Delhi. So letters of award were issued in August 2019. And further, the city transport undertakings and the state transport undertakings have issued letter of award for 2,488 e-buses. That is the progress. And we are planning to sanction another 670 e-buses by the next month. Let's go to the next slide, please. So I spoke about e-buses. Another important component is the charging infrastructure. So at the moment, we have issued an EOI for deploying 1,000 electric vehicle charging stations within cities. And we received 106 proposals, of which 19 were shortlisted. And we sanctioned 2,636 EV charging stations to 62 cities. Of these, the fast charging stations, that is those which charge within a duration of half an hour to 1.5 hours, is 1,633 stations. The slow charging stations are 1,003 in number. These take about 3 to 5 hours for charging. Letters of award have been issued for 1,161 EV charging stations. Now the next step, we have done this for EV stations within cities. The next step is to go for EV charging stations on highways, on expressways, outside cities, connecting cities. So that's the next step. And we'll be issuing an expression of interest for deploying 1,000 EV charging stations in August. Next, please. Can we go to the next one? So this was about the policies of the government of India. Now, state governments have also taken several policies to encourage EVs. 14 states have formulated EV policies. So they have different models. I have picked out one representative example just to give you a flavor of what they are offering. One is financial incentives. There will be purchase incentives on purchase of EVs, scrapping incentives to scrap their old cars. Then the road tax and registration fee are being waived. Then they are also establishing a network of charging stations and swappable battery stations. You see, we are also looking at a model whereby batteries can swap so that there is no discontinuity in service and the huge cost of batteries is reduced. There is an intensive communication plan and development of database on public charging infrastructure. They are also setting up skill centers where training will be provided. And we are trying to set up recycling ecosystem for batteries. Next one, please. Now, some issues are being faced in the Indian EV market, and for which I will request this forum to provide solutions as well. We'll love to work with them. The first thing is range anxiety. The problem with EVs is that they have once they are charged, the range is very limited of travel due to battery sizing, weight, cost issues are also there. And then chargers are not interoperable. There are different kinds of chargers, but the charging equipment are not meant for chargers of various types. There is a problem of interoperability. Then, even though there are fast chargers from 30 to 90 minutes, even that is quite long. So we have to look for technologies that can reduce the charging time. Then the upfront cost is pretty high, much higher than the ICE vehicles. And the main component which is responsible for these higher costs is the high cost of batteries. As we know, batteries comprise about 50% of the total EV upfront cost. So we'll have to look at solutions which reduce the cost of batteries so as to facilitate the adoption of EVs. Then there is some reluctance among OEMs to transit to EVs because of one, of course, the overall slowdown in the sector, which was already there. And now COVID has further accentuated that slowdown. And then they have invested quite a lot in the BS6 technology. There was a leapfrogging from BS4 to BS6. So heavy investments have been made. So they are slightly reluctant to invest in the EV technology. And then there's a very high level of import of battery cells. So we have to look at indigenization of battery cells in the country itself. So we rely a lot on imported components, and a large segment comes from China. So we need to focus more on indigenization, focus on technological collaborations so as to facilitate some of these solutions. Next. These are the main issues which we face, and I'm very happy to be on this forum, and I invite suggestions and solutions from people in Japan and across who are hooked on to this presentation. Thank you very much.
インド政府は EV 補助金スキーム、フェイム政策のもとに EV を推進しています。2015年から2019年3月までの第1期においては、約28万台の HV と EV を支援し、10都市で417台の電気バスを展開することができました。500カ所の充電ステーションが認可され、このうち318カ所がすでに設置されています。15億8000万ルピー規模の研究開発プロジェクトも認可されました。2019年4月から2022年3月までの第2期においては、100万台の電気二輪車、50万台の電気三輪車、5万5000台の電気自動車と7000台の電気バスに対する支援の提供、充電インフラの大規模展開の準備、電気自動車による高級機関と共同利用交通機関の推進、最新式の化学電池を搭載した車両やゼロエミッション車の推進が目標とされています。バッテリー容量に連動した購買補助金も提供されています。フェーム政策の下、電池式やエタノール燃料、メタノール燃料を使用した輸送車両が輸送業に関する認可の取得から免除されました。また EV の輸入や登録に関する規制も緩和され、ハイブリッド電気システムや電気システムの後付けが許可され、適合基準が定められました。電気自動車の部品や材料に課される関税と、すべての EV や EV 用充電器に課される物品サービス税も引き下げられました。また e モビリティの普及率を高めるための数値目標がセグメント別に設定されました。第2期の大きな柱となっているのが電気バスの配備です。電気バスの配備の実例を紹介します。中高校局が5000台の電気バス配備計画への関心表明書を募集したところ、87の提案が州政府や地方自治体から寄せられました。64都市での市内運行に使用される電気バス5095台、都市間運行のための400台の電気バス、そしてデリー地下鉄公社の電気バス100台を含む計画が認可されました。その後、落札通知書が中央政府や州政府の公社から2488台の電気バスに対し発行されました。 2020年8月までにさらに670台の電気バスが認可される見込みです。EV 純電インフラについても同様の手続きが実行され、1161カ所の EV 充電ステーションのための落札通知書が発行されています。2020年8月までにさらに1000カ所の設置に関する関心表明書が募集される予定です。アンドラプラデーシュ、デリー、カルナタカ、マハラシュトラを含む14州は、それぞれ独自の EV 政策を策定しています。政策には購入補助金やスクラップ補助金を含む金銭インセンティブや道路税、登録税の免除、充電ステーションや公共充電インフラ、データベースの整備への支援、技能開発への支援、電池リサイクルへの支援が含まれています。インドの EV 市場の主要課題としては、走行距離への不安、初期コストの高さ、充電時間の長さ、入手可能な EV が限られている点と価格の高さ、中国からの輸入部品への高い依存度などが挙げられています。国産化を推進する必要があります。日本の皆様の提案またはソリューションを歓迎します。
続きまして、マルチ鈴木インディア専務取締役 CV ラマン様および専務兼副社長タパンサフ様よりメイキンインディア事例についてご紹介いただきます。Next, I would like to request Mr. CV Raman, Senior Executive Director, and Dr. Tapan Safu, Executive Vice President, Product Planning, Design, Cost and Program Management, Maruti Suzuki India Limited, to give a presentation on Making India Experience in EV sector.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to all of you about electric mobility and Maruti Suzuki's view on this. I'll quickly jump to the presentation. Electrification, as you all know, is a global phenomenon, and countries across the globe have embarked on this path. And if you see in United States, there is a high dependence on Middle East crude oil, and their imperative is reduced greenhouse gas emissions. In Europe, it is COP21 commitment, NOx emission issues, and also clean energy mix in the Scandinavian countries. In China, the view is about seizing the global EV market share, leverage battery manufacturing advantage, and they are also the largest producer of rare earth metals in the world. And air pollution and greenhouse gas emission concerns are also there. And in Japan, of course, 100% of the oil is imported, and of course, adherence to greenhouse gas emission targets is the imperative. While many have followed a combination of a hybrid and EV approach, some countries have focused on battery EV only. And in summary, the factors and conditions and objectives of each country are very different, and therefore electrification path followed by countries is very, very different. Mobility in India is at a nascent stage with a huge potential to grow. However, the most important challenge before India is energy security because of the crude oil import. Therefore, India focus is on sustainable and clean mobility in the long term, and the short term focuses on reduction of the crude import and strategic risks and the pollution concerns. As a market, India is very unique, and 75% of our vehicles are two-wheelers, and 15% are cars. 85% of the two-wheelers are less than 125 cc, and 75% of the passenger cars are small cars. So affordability is one of the key and most important factors for customers, which has to be kept in mind while formulating future policies. Considering the fuel consumption pattern and the adoption potential in India, a government has prioritized electrification journey very rightly as two-wheelers as the priority, public transport, and then thereafter followed by fleet cars. A government is also considering using LNG in the long-distance transport to reduce diesel consumption, and also use of CNG, hybrid, and biofuels in cars is also one of the imperatives of the government of India. Considering the future market potential of the passenger cars, it is estimated that the total new car sales will be around 53 million in the period 2018 to 2030. In the same period, the government of India has a very ambitious target of 30% EV penetration by 2030. So if you see a ramp up, then EV car sales may be about 6 million by 2030. However, the view is that how do we take care of the rest of the population of vehicles which are going to be produced into 2030, and they will be non-EVs, and therefore we need to find practical and feasible solutions for these non-EV cars. And there's also a need, as the Joint Secretary had also informed, that there's a need to focus on cost reduction, as EVs are very, very expensive today, and therefore we also need to have the matching charging infrastructure. So in order to address this issue, the government of India also has a natural gas mission, which is to adoption of CNG for affordable, acceptable technology as a technology, which is available in India. And it's heartening that this ambitious program of the government in India is to expand CNG network across the country, and estimated by 2030 that 17 million natural gas vehicles will be there. Therefore, helping in saving huge foreign exchange. The second approach is to the promotion of hybrid vehicles, which is energy efficient and environment friendly. Adoption of hybrids along with the EVs will help in demand aggregation of key components of hybrids and EVs like battery, motors, power electronics. And the combined scale, such parts can be localized, and therefore they can promote Make in India. Maruti Suzuki is aligned with the Government of India's vision of electrification and plans to manufacture and sell XEVs, which is both hybrid as well as the electric vehicles. In this context, India's first lithium-ion battery plant is being set up in Gujarat by Toshiba Denso Suzuki joint venture. At Maruti Suzuki, currently electric vehicle is under extensive field testing. We had made 50 vehicles in India, and we are evaluating them under varied ambient and environment conditions. Further, the dedicated XEV test facility has been planned in our Rohtak R&D Center, which is the only full-fledged R&D center of Suzuki outside of Japan. So therefore, we'll be doing a lot of testing and evaluation there. And for wider proliferation of EVs, the ecosystem deployment is also necessary. And just like the internal combustion engine ecosystem, we need to develop this, which has the ICE engine ecosystem has developed over 35 years. And we not only need to encompass just local manufacturing of key components, but we also need to look at battery recycling, charging infrastructure development, deployment, as well as the skill development across the value chain. We need to reskill our entire workforce over a period of time to handle the high technology hybrid as well as the electric vehicles, and therefore which would mean a sea change in the way in which the education curriculum is going to happen. So of course, Maruti Suzuki is thankful to the government for taking various steps in this regard. We have just two requests which we have been making to the Government of India. One is that the policy support for hybrids, as has been done for the EVs, this is something which will help in demand aggregation. It can attract investments for local manufacture, and of course promote Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is Make in India. And the second request is, of course, as was also shared by Joint Secretary, deployment of large-scale fast charging infrastructure for faster adoption of EVs, because that is something which the customer is going to look for. And so Maruti Suzuki looks forward to the Government of India's support in this regard to promote electric mobility in India. That's all I would like to conclude my presentation. And thank you very much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much.
電化は世界的な現象であり、世界中の国々がこの道を歩み始めています。多くの国が HBEV と EV を組み合わせたアプローチをとっていますが、一部の国ではバッテリー EV のみに注力するなど、各国の状況、要因、条件、目的はそれぞれ異なっています。インドのモビリティはまだ発展途上の段階にあり、大きな可能性を秘めています。インドの最も重要な課題は原油の輸入です。インドは長期的には持続可能でクリーンなモビリティを の形成を目指さなければなりませんが、短期的には原油輸入の削減、戦略的リスク、汚染の懸念に焦点を当てる必要があります。インドは特殊な自動車市場です。二輪車が市場全体の 75%、車が 15% を占めています。二輪車の 85% が 125cc 以下、乗用車の 75% が小型車という構成です。また、顧客にとって最も重要なのが手頃な価格です。インドでの事業計画を策定する際には、このことを忘れてはなりません。政府は電動化政策の優先順位を二輪車、公共輸送、車の順に設定していますが、これは正しい判断だと思います。乗用車については、2018年から2030年までの新車販売台数の合計が約5300万台と推定されています。同期間にもし2030年に EV 普及率 30% という躍進的な目標が実現されていると仮定すれば、EV の新車販売は6000万台程度になります。この目標を達成するためには、現在の EV は大変に高価であるため、コスト削減と充電インフラの整備に注力する必要があります。EV 以外の車の燃費問題に対処するためには、2つのアプローチが考えられます。1つはインドでも入手可能で低価格な CNG の採用です。第2のアプローチは、エネルギー効率が高く、環境に優しいハイブリッド車の推進です。HEV と EV の採用は、HEV と EV の主要部品であるバッテリー、モーター、パワーエレクトロニクス等の需要集約に貢献するでしょう。マルティスズキはインド政府の電動化ビジョンに沿って、インドで XEV を製造・販売していく予定です。政策にとって私たちの事業としては、インド初のリチウムイオン電池工場が東芝電装スズキのジョイントベンチャーによってグジャラート州に現在建設されています。マルティスズキでは現在、電気自動車をさまざまな環境条件で評価するために大々的な実験を行っています。また、ロータック研究開発センター内に XEV 専用の試験施設が設置される予定です。EV の普及のためには EV エコシステムの整備が必要です。そのためには主要部品の現地生産だけではなく、バッテリーリサイクル、充電インフラの配備、バリューチェーン全体の技能開発にも目を向ける必要があります。インドで XEV を普及させるため、私たちは政府に2つの事項を要請します。まず、私たちは政府に対し、需要集約を後押しし、現地製造業への投資を誘致するためのハイブリッドへの政策的支援を要請します。2つ目の要望は、急速充電インフラの大規模な配備です。マルティスズキは、インドにおける電気自動車の普及に向けた政府の支援を期待しています。
Next, I would like to request Mr. Hitoshi Arima, Director, Association for the Promotion of Electric Vehicles, to give the presentation on Smart City and Future Vision of EV. 続きまして、電気自動車普及協会理事、有馬仁様より、スマートシティと EV への期待についてご講演いただきます。有馬様、よろしくお願いいたします。
はい、よろしくお願いします。有馬です。ちょっと失礼しました。スクリーンがですね、ちょっと今、お待ちください。聞こえておりますでしょうか。
はい、今聞こえました。はい、
はい、じゃあ、ちょっとビデオを停止して、ちょっと進めさせていただきます。私の方からはですね、最初にこういう機会をいただきまして、どうもありがとうございます。電気自動車普及協会からですね、ご説明したいと思います。本日の話題はですね、スマートシティへの期待ということと、あと、電気自動車普及協会の紹介をさせていただきます。はい。横浜スマートコミュニティというプロジェクトがございまして、少しだけ紹介したいと思います。このプロジェクトはですね、2013年からゼロエネルギーハウスの研究をしておりまして、植物細胞を模倣したようなハウスを建ててですね、自律運転を行うような 自立運転といいますのは太陽光発電と蓄電池を持っているということが重要で、災害に強い家、それから自立運転が可能ということで、系統電力から自立できるような家を建てて実証試験をしたということで、ジェトロさんからもですね、産業ツアーとして紹介いただいて、非常に多くの方に訪れていただきました。残念ながら現在はですね、公開を終了しておりまして、この背景をもとにですね、今回の話題についてちょっと触れたいと思います。電力再生可能エネルギーに関する動向としてですね、日本の中では2019年問題ということで取り上げておられましたけれども、電力会社がですね、太陽光発電を買い取りするっていうことを10年行ってこられましたけれども、その中でですね、燃力買い取り価格が下がったために、下がるというタイミングが19年で、電気エネルギーをですね、買い取り、あるいはそういうマーケットを作りますということだとか、自立運転ということで、自家消費型に変わってきた。それとまた最近、災害が多いものですから、特に水害とかですね、停電とかが起こって、電気自動車から、例えば EV からですね、自立するような、家に供給するような要求も増えてきたということが背景があります。そういう災害に強いということも非常に重要ですよね。それから EV が増加するときに国内消費電力にどのような影響を及ぼすかっていうのを一言触れたいと思います。前提で家庭がですね、あるんですけども、1台あたりどのくらいエネルギーを消費するかに若干よるんですけども、EV が本当に普及してですね、2000万台に増えたとき、今国内が7000万台あるとすればですね、そのうちの3分の1強ですね、3分の1ほどがですね、EV に変わった場合に、国内の消費電力の 3% で想定するんで、その大きくですね、電力消費量には影響を及ぼさないだろうというふうに言われております。ただしですね、充電する場合に、やはりマンションに充電器が足りないということもありますけども、充電器が不足するとかですね、充電の待ちとか起こりますし、もう一つですね、局所的に電圧変動が起こる。局所的に急速充電すると、そこの場所だけですね、電圧変動が起こる可能性があるので、蓄電池を使ってですね、系統電力、つまり電力会社から買う部分を少し貯めといて使うというようなことも検討が行われております。もう一つ、今日の話題で取り上げたいのがスマートシティに関することなんですけども、日本の中でもですね、スマートシティに対してすごく注目されております。ここちょっと時間の関係で飛ばしますけども、実証試験も2011年頃からですね、始まっておりまして、最近の話題についてちょっとお話ししたいと思います。スマートシティはですね、新たなビジネスチャンスを得るということで、災害に強い都市、先ほど申し上げましたEV から供給するとか、自立運転するために太陽光発電を使うとかですね、そういう都市デザインに大きく影響してくるということがございます。もちろんそこに必要なのはいろんなIT の技術、それからインフラ等々ですね、物流も含めて新たなビジネスがそこで起こるということも考えられております。それから、先ほど申し上げました太陽光を使った自立運転するというのは、横浜スマートのスマートハウスのプロジェクトから約8年、9年経ちまして、いよいよですね、太陽光発電と EV をつなぐソリューションということで、こういう市場がぜひ広がっていくということをちょっと期待しております。この事例では太陽光パネルとインバーター、EV を持ってきて、系統電力がですね、毎日なくても自立運転できると。EV からも家庭に電力供給できるという時代に変わってきましたということです。それからこの事例はですね、コンビニエンスストアが災害時に止まってはいけないということもありますので、太陽光発電と自立運転するようなコンビニを置いて、もう一つ蓄電池を持つということで、ずっと実証してきたようなプロジェクトがですね、やっと市場に出てきたということで、この事例もかなり取り上げていただいておりますね。スマートシティという言い方では、トヨタ様からもですね、ウーブンシティということで、先ほど スマートシティに対する期待ということを挙げましたけども、このようなソリューションというかですね、街からモビリティを考えるということの時代に変わってきたような考え方が出てきたように思います。新たなチャレンジが必要ということで、少し意見を申し上げますと、全体システムを考えなくちゃいけないので、ユーザー中心の概念で反応を見ながら考えるということで、デザイン思考という考え方、それからシステムズエンジニアリングということで、システム設計手法のですね、共通言語化、デジタルツインシミュレーション技術というのが本当に求められるのではないかと思います。日本の国土交通省もですね、コンパクトシティということを提唱されてますし、経済産業省もですね、産業アーキテクチャデザインセンター、今はデジタルアーキテクチャデザインセンターという名前で、スタートをすでにしております。こういうプロジェクトも含んでおりますけども、電気自動車普及協会としてですね、ちょっと紹介したいと思いますけども、電気自動車普及協会はですね、2010年からスタートしまして、2014年には一般社団法人化しておりますけども、EV、PHEV、FCEV の普及によって、未来の子どもたちのために美しい地球環境を残したいということを、名誉会長の福武様からお話が出まして、活動を開始しておりますということで、今の状況はですね、ここに挙げましたような会長、代表理事をはじめ、アドバイザーも含んで活動を活発にしております。会員数はですね、自動車会社も含めて80社、それから地方自治体等も含めて、総合的に271団体となっております。活動方針はですね、自律的な活動、それから団体との協力、普及に向けての具体的な支援ということでございます。それから主な活動として紹介させていただきたいのは、地域インモビリティということで、東京都と一緒になってですね、ケーススタディをしながら具体的にどう推進するかということを活動しておりますし、技術委員会ということで、今までのガソリンエンジンからですね、EV にコンバージョンするときの EV のガイドライン、こういうものを作成しております。それから人材育成ということで、国際 EV デザインコンテストという活動をしておりまして、2019年、昨年度も4回目を実施したところでございます。それから人材育成ということで、これは未来社会創造ワークショップというテーマで、新しい価値観をですね、生み出すプロジェクトベースラーニングということで、東京大学と一緒になってですね、高校生向けに実施するプロジェクトでもございます。今回、インド大使館様と一緒という活動ですので、ちょっと紹介させていただきたいんですけども、EV デザインコンテスト2017年のコンテストにですね、インディア・ナショナル・インスティテュート・オブ・デザインのチームがですね、カーデザインアカデミー賞を受賞されております。国際 EV コンテストでもですね、インドの学生様にも協力いただいたり、こういう発表もさせていただいたりしております。最後にですね、やはりですね、環境問題の解決という意味でおいてはですね、電気自動車の普及が必須ではないかというふうに思っておりますし、スマートシティと一緒になってですね、デザインすることも重要だというふうに思っております。そこには複数の分野をまたがる複合的な、総合的なアプローチが必要というふうに思っております。それから APEV ですね、電気自動車普及協会のメンバーは、各産業分野、皆様が参加されておりますので、ぜひ皆様ですね、電気自動車普及協会の活動に関心を持っていただいて、ぜひ一緒に活動を行っていければというふうに思っております。はい、以上でございます。ご清聴どうもありがとうございます。
In 2013, the Yokohama Smart Community, of which I am the president, built a smart house that mimics plant cells in cooperation with the city of Yokohama and member companies. The house has solar power and storage batteries, and it is self-sustaining and disaster resilient as it can be detached from the grid. The results of the demonstration have been widely publicized as a demonstration model of the zero energy house. During the field test, we conducted an experiment to charge an EV as well. I would like to touch upon current trends and issues related to renewable energy in Japan, including solar power. First, I'd like to touch upon the year 2019 problem. In 2009, the surplus power purchasing system, in which power companies purchased surplus power, solar power from small-scale solar panel owners at fixed prices, was introduced. The system limited the FIT period to 10 years. Therefore, in 2019, selling prices for solar power suddenly dropped. Many companies and people faced the need to find ways to sell their surplus power at reasonable prices. There's another challenge for Japan is the recovery of electric power supply after natural disaster. There's a pressing need to develop the technology that utilizes EV battery for domestic use. Smart city-based urban development is offering new business opportunities. Next generation smart cities can serve as experiment field for urban design, ecological recycling, including innovative waste collection systems, construction, air conditioning, utilizing passive technologies and new materials, and innovative design for new forms of mobility, as well as communication, IoT, water supply and sewage systems, power control system, VPP optimization, logistics, MaaS, and mobility. SMEs should work to obtain business opportunities by forming consortiums or actively making proposals. To Mitsubishi Motors Electric Drive House, 7-Eleven's 100% renewable energy house store, and Nissan Motors, which utilizes Nissan Motors electric vehicle, Leaf. Toyota Motors Woven City, a smart city project, can be listed as new trends related to EV. In order for us to create next generation smart cities, we need methods and human resources for designing the overall architecture to achieve these goals. New methodologies will be required. Design-oriented thinking or the user-centered concept, system engineering, the common language of system design methods across industries and domains will be increasingly important. APEP was established in 2014 with the concept of creating a beautiful global environment for children of the future by promoting EVs, HVs, and FCVs. Our activities include the promotion of EVs in local areas and the setting of standards. In order to protect the global environment and realize a sustainable ecology, a sustainable society, we, members of the Association for the Promotion of Electric Vehicles, aim to create a society where electric vehicles will become the standard car by promoting cooperation between industries, governments, and academia. Ninja, an electric vehicle designed by APEP's team consisting of 4 Indian designers, won the Car Design Academy Awards in 2017.
続きまして、インド自動車製造者協会ダイレクタージェネラルラジェス・メノン様より、商機と挑戦、インドにおける電動化についてご講演いただきます。Next, I'd like to request Mr. Rajesh Menon, Director General, Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, to give the presentation on opportunities and challenges, electrification in the Indian context.
Thank you very much. All the eminent speakers from both Japan and India at this webinar, delegates participating at the webinar from both Japan and India, representing respective government and the industry. It's indeed my pleasure as Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, SIAM, to be part of this webinar organized by the Indian Embassy in Japan in association with the Department of Heavy Industry, Government of India. As we all know, automotive industry in India truly demonstrates an exemplary collaboration and synergy between India and Japan. Many of the top automobile manufacturers and component makers in India are of Japanese origin. Also, in our own earnest way, the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, SIAM, has been working very closely with our counterpart in Japan, which is the JAMA, and many other research organizations in Japan to further the interests of automobile industry of both the countries. Today, in this context of focus of the webinar, it has got much more relevance and much more importance. World over, the electric mobility has become an area of great interest, debate, and opportunities, with, of course, challenges which needs to be addressed. Mr. Varadan from Department of Heavy Industry explained in detail the FAME India scheme. The flagship FAME India scheme has been implemented successfully since 2015 to create the market and ecosystem for this niche technology. I must say that it's a scheme which has created a countrywide movement towards electrification of automobiles. We also see many states, including Karnataka and Gujarat, who are joining today's webinar, joining this bandwagon in their own right way. I'm sure such collective efforts would bear fruit in the long run. While Mr. Varadan earlier and Mr. C.V. Raman from Maruti Suzuki explained the entire scenario of EVs in India, I just want to take the opportunity to highlight 5 or 6 aspects vis-a-vis opportunities and, of course, some challenges. First, unlike developed countries, India has all kinds of vehicles. Therefore, one size would not fit all in terms of technology option. The mobility solutions would need to be tailor-made given the fact that we have a range of automobiles, be it 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, commercial vehicles in terms of trucks, buses, and different application of each segment scale-wise, and of course, from a Make in India perspective. CNG is also proven in bus fleets for city application, and now we're talking about EV fleets in cities for buses. For long haul application, there can be a merit of looking at LNG and fuel cells along with fuel cell EVs as a technology option. So one size would not fit all, and we need to have multiple applications and depending on segment specific. Second, technology has to be market centric. There could be a winner technology among so many technologies. It would be important to keep pace with technology evolution. Ultimately, it is the consumers who will decide which technology would emerge as the winner. Third, there are 3 major anxieties for electric vehicles which needs to be tackled and addressed by the industry. One is price anxiety, which Mr. Varadan referred to, range anxiety, and charging anxiety. These aspects would need a collaborative effort by the concerned stakeholders, that is industry, charging infrastructure agencies, and government. Ultimately, this technology would need to stand on its own as a regular and sustainable business to be able to reach mass adoption. Fourth, niche technology needs focused adaptation approach. So you will see in India, commercial applications, especially bus fleets, taxi fleets, would see faster penetration and adaptation in terms of higher ROI and greater acceptance compared to personal mobility options. Fifth, we need to have a technology agnostic approach with greater emphasis on top runner technologies. I believe that there is a merit for the industry to look at electrification technologies which are a hybrid of both electric powertrain and conventional powertrain. This could be relevant for companies for the individual electrification strategies, meeting the CAFE targets, as well as develop economies of scale for electric powertrain components. And finally, with respect to broader objectives, which Mr. Raman referred to in his presentation, India being a vast country with its own set of issues, there is a need to look at larger objectives like greenhouse gas, crude oil import from an energy security perspective, pollution, mobility needs across the country, and jobs. Technologies should act as an enabler towards meeting such objectives. To conclude, I will say the future will unfold the way we would like to see. At the same time, we are yet to see it fully evolving. So every small step in the right direction would be important and would be imperative. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
インド自動車工業会会長ラジェシュ・メロン氏によるプレゼンテーションのサマリーをお伝えいたします。インドの自動車市場は先進国との異なり、非常に独自な特徴があります。インドの自動車市場には二輪車、三輪車から自動車、大型商用車まで様々なセグメントがあります。二輪車市場は市場全体の 75% を占めています。これは技術ロードマップを作成する際に留意すべき重要な特徴です。これが意味するのは電動化技術の普及率は車両セグメントによって異なるということです。ユーティリティ、アプリケーション、そしてそれを取り巻く消費者の行動に依存します。 最終的には消費者がそれを受け入れ後押しすることになります。業界にとっては電動パワートレインと従来型パワートレインのハイブリッドである電動化技術にも注目すべき利点があると考えています。企業が電動戦略を立て、企業別平均燃費の目標を達成し、電動パワートレイン部品の規模の経済性を開発し、それらの技術を主力事業にするには、ハイブリッドな電動化技術を活用しなければなりません。インドは広大な国であり、独自の問題を抱えているため、政府は温室効果ガス、原油輸入、汚染、国全体のモビリティのニーズ、雇用などの大きな目標に取り組まなければなりません。技術はインド全体がこれらの課題に取り組みながら進んでいくための力になるという役割を果たすべきであります。以上です。
Next, I would like to request Mr. Masayuki Kameo, Project Manager, External Affairs Division, Toyota Motor Corporation, to give the presentation on Toyota's strategy for XEV promotion. 続きまして、トヨタ自動車障害部主幹、亀尾正幸様より、トヨタ自動車における電動車推進戦略についてご講演いただきます。亀尾様、よろしくお願いいたします。
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm Masayuki Kameo from External Affairs Division of Toyota Motor Corporation. Also, thank you for giving us an opportunity to make a presentation today. I'd like to explain about Toyota's basic view on electrified vehicles, meaning XEV promotion. First of all, Toyota, as a mobility company, strongly feels the urgent need of providing efficient mobility solutions to deal with energy and environment issues. So Toyota has developed all range of electrified vehicle technologies known as XEVs, using diversified energy sources such as strong hybrids, plug-in hybrids on biofuel, electric and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, as you can see on this slide. So all these electrified vehicles play important role in meeting the objectives of each country to reduce fossil fuel consumption and CO2 emissions. All categories of XEVs cater different applications and provide optimum benefits to users depending on vehicle size and traveling distance. For instance, battery EVs in small size are suitable for short distances. Hybrids and plug-in hybrids in mid-size for larger distances, and FCEVs in larger segment for long distances. So diversified range of XEVs has potential to meet the requirement of each customer in any part of the world. So this is a characteristics of XEVs. Each electrified vehicle technology has its own merit and challenges. For example, from well-to-wheel perspective, considering production process of electricity and hydrogen, even battery EVs and FCEVs are not free from CO2 emission. And amongst all XEVs, hybrids has better consumer acceptance due to their because of their very high fuel efficiency a lower price gap with internal combustion engines vehicles, and most importantly, not being dependent on charging infrastructure. On the other hand, foremost challenge for battery EVs adoption is consumer acceptance, which dependent on availability of charging stations and high performance and reliable battery EVs at the comparable price point of conventional petrol and diesel vehicles. So we believe that technology neutral approach is best suited for India. So let me focus on hybrid fuel efficiency here. As you may know, having an electric powertrain, hybrid can run both on pure EV mode and on engine mode. As per the test reports of Government of India's testing agency, ICAT, hybrid can run 40% of distance and 60% of time in EV mode, meaning with engine shut off. So when tested on modified Indian driving cycle, in short MIDC, and using much less cost of lithium battery, and giving the result was that the very high fuel savings of 35 to 48% and CO2 reduction of 30%. So we understand that hybrids are environmental friendly and highly fuel efficient in Indian driving environment. And this slide shows components of xEVs. So as you can see, all xEVs have an electric powertrain consisting of common core EV parts like battery, motor, and inverter, and differ with each other depending on how the battery is charged. So demand aggregation of common parts by technology neutral approach will create an ecosystem for large-scale local xEV parts industry. So from the points earlier, we believe hybrid plays a key role to reduce fuel consumption and CO2 emissions, and also to develop an ecosystem for local xEV parts industry in India. Thus, Toyota, working with Suzuki, will increase hybrid model lineups in India to popularize hybrid in the near future. However, currently in India, hybrids attract very high level of GST, goods and service tax, making it unviable for customer acceptance. Consequently, this has become a barrier for adoption of this environmental friendly technology. So we would like to request the Indian government to consider fiscal incentive or tax benefits, not only for battery EV, but also hybrid, as the technology neutral approach. Finally, I'd like to share other countries' approaches for your reference. Recognizing the benefits of hybrids, most global auto manufacturing nations have extended preferential policy and taxation support to hybrid from time to time while shifting to electric mobility. For xEV's growth in Japan, government provided subsidy for battery EV and hybrid from 1997 to 2009. And from 2009, the subsidy remained for battery EV and plug-in hybrid and FCEV. and hybrid continue to get tax privilege as eco cars. So just for your information, Toyota has sold 15 million xEVs globally till March 2020, resulting in saving of 125 million tons of CO2 and 47 million kiloliters of fossil fuel. So such government support has not only played a pivotal role in creating local manufacturing ecosystem of electric vehicle parts in these countries, but also providing smooth and disruption-free transition to adopt newer technologies. A similar approach is also being adopted by Southeast Asia's countries like Thailand, where hybrids are given preferential tax treatment in comparison to ICE vehicles to facilitate local manufacturing of EV parts. So at the very end of my presentation, I'd like to ask again the Indian government to consider the technology neutral approach also in India. Thank you for your attention.
トヨタ自動車株式会社海外障害部主幹、亀尾正幸さんによるプレゼンテーションのサマリーをお伝えいたします。トヨタ自動車株式会社は1933年創業の自動車メーカーで、現在世界26カ国に拠点を構え、全世界で37万人以上を雇用しています。インドには1997年にキロロスカール社と合弁会社トヨタキロロスカールモーターを立ち上げ進出しています。現在はカルナタカ州のビラディとバンガロール郊外に製造拠点を持ち、約7000名を雇用しています。さて、トヨタ自動車は自動車メーカーとして環境問題に対し非常に強い責任を感じております。電動車の利用については電力事情など各国で事情が異なっており、トヨタ自動車では様々な国のニーズに対応できるよう電動車のラインナップを拡充しております。電動車については走行距離や車体サイズで得て増えてがあり、バッテリー EV だけではなく、xEV、いわゆる次世代 EV での製品展開を検討する必要があると認識しています。また環境問題に対しては WTW、すなわち Well to Wheel で考える必要があり、インドについてはハイブリッド EV 車の普及が最も効果的であると考えています。電動車には様々なバリエーションがありますが、キーとなる部品はバッテリー、モーター、インバーターです。これはバッテリー EV であっても、ハイブリッド EV であっても共通です。したがって、ハイブリッド EV の普及は、バッテリー EV の製造基盤の強化につながり、将来的なバッテリー EV 普及に向けて非常に重要です。そのため、トヨタ自動車は、インドでのハイブリッド EV のラインナップを拡充していく予定です。ただし、普及にあたっては、政府の支援が肝要です。電動車の普及が進みつつある日本においても、xEV という観点で、エコカー減税や補助金などの政府のバックアップがあって普及が進みました。インドではバッテリー EV 以外の車両には高い GST 税率が適用されるなど、xEV に対する支援策がまだ手薄です。インド政府にはバッテリー EV だけではなく、xEV の普及も合わせて進めるべく、ハイブリッド EV を含む xEV に対し広範なサポートをお願いしたいと思います。以上です。
続きまして、カルナタカ州政府商工局上席次官ゴーラブ・グプタ様より、カルナタカ州における電気自動車分野の投資機会についてご講演いただきます。Next, I would like to request Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Principal Secretary, Commerce and Industries Department, Government of Karnataka, to give the presentation on investment opportunities in EV sector in Karnataka.
So, thank you so much for giving opportunity to Karnataka to make a presentation on the electric vehicle policy. Karnataka is the best suited state for electric vehicles. Karnataka is $250 billion state domestic product. It's the largest technology cluster in Asia, among the top 4 globally. And it is the birthplace for Indian electric vehicles, Reva cars, now renamed as Mahindra Electric. 400 of the Fortune 500 companies are present in Karnataka. It is a well-known cluster of Japanese companies also. And we would like to mention that what distinguishes Karnataka and Bangalore is the innovation and tech capabilities together with manufacturing capabilities, which leads to a complete electric vehicle ecosystem. So Karnataka is Bangalore is a tech hub, is the largest startup ecosystem in India and in also this part of the world, has expertise in artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT and big data. So all these tech things, Karnataka, Bangalore, you can find it. Together with that, it is also the leading in terms of electronic manufacturing. More than 10% of electronic manufacturing ESDM sector output comes from Karnataka. It is home to more than 50% of electronic product companies of India. And beside innovation and tech capabilities and electronic manufacturing, so what you have also is vehicles and auto capabilities. Auto manufacturing capability wise, we have Toyota and Honda present here. Number of other European companies like Volvo and Scania present here. And we are the 4th largest producer of vehicles in India. There are several auto clusters around Bangalore, and there are a number of OEMs and more than 50 companies around this place. Now, we were the first ones in Karnataka to introduce a dedicated electric vehicle policy, and this has coverage across the demand side, the supply side, and also in charging infrastructure. On the demand side, we are promoting e-mobility. We have dedicated fleet of autos, electric autos, and also we are taking up several measures, like for example, promotion of fleet, taxi fleet, and also school bus fleet, etc. We are also promoting on the supply side, on the manufacturing side, an electric vehicle park near Bangalore, which is a part of the budget announcement by the State Chief Minister in this year. We have also been working on charging infrastructure. The special purpose vehicle has been set up for charging infrastructure. And also we have estimated and we have taken measures to ensure grid expansion to augment the power infrastructure. There are several incentives that have been listed as a part of the electric vehicle policy. So capital subsidy, subsidy for investment promotion, which covers the electric vehicles, the components, the batteries, cells, charging, etc. So entire ecosystem is covered by the incentives given for the electric vehicle value chain. And also support for research and development. The VC fund, where venture capital fund has been set up for research and promotion of industry, academia collaboration. So there are a number of companies that are present here. Some of them I am showing it. Mahindra Electric, Bosch, Ether Energy is one of the largest for two-wheeler industry. And then you have number of other companies, Sun Mobility, Toyota, also very strongly. They made a presentation earlier. And we have interacted with all of them, not only for the policy formulation, but also for rolling out and implementation of the policies. So in terms of the industry facilitation, let me mention for Japanese companies, we have a special mechanism for industry facilitation. We have set up a dialogue monitoring committee headed by the chief secretary of the state, and also project facilitation committees which meet on a monthly basis to resolve issues of implementation of Japanese companies only. This is only for Japanese companies. We also have short-circuited number of processes so that the licenses, permissions, approvals, etc. for any approved projects are not necessary. So that is downstream approvals are taken care of by the amendment to the Act, Industries Facilitation Act, very recently. We also have a number of industrial parks which have been developed with the rich pool of automotive and electronic and EV companies. In particular, we have a machine tool park and also a Japanese industrial township, which has been made, and that is also within 70 kilometers, about 1 hour to 1.5 hours drive from Bangalore. We have investor-ready land bank. In the Japanese township itself, we have about 500 acres of land, and other lands are also available at various places. We have a stable policy-driven ecosystem with simplified processes and an online single window approval for hassle-free approvals. And as I mentioned, downstream approvals also are included. Once you get a single approval, then downstream approvals are automatic based on online payment of fees and self-certifications. And connectivity-wise, Bangalore is very well connected. There are a number of international flights through Singapore, Bangkok, and Hong Kong. And also there was a direct flight to Tokyo, Narita, which was about to start just before the COVID struck. And we hope and expect it will be started again. Efficient logistics systems, number of ICDs, container freight stations, etc. And also we have a deep water port at Mangalore. So with this, I would like to conclude, and I would like to mention that the electric vehicle wise, again, to sum up, Karnataka is the best state in terms of innovation and tech facilities, in terms of capabilities on electronic manufacturing, and on the capabilities of auto manufacturing, etc. Thank you.
カルナタカ州政府商工局上席次官ガーラブ・グプタ氏によるプレゼンテーションのサマリーをお伝えいたします。インド南西の沿岸州カルナタカ州はベトナムの GDP に匹敵する州 GDP2500 億ドルを誇るインドを代表する経済州です。世界市場と良好な接続性を持っており、州内にはフォーチュン500企業が400社以上進出しています。また強力な産業基盤が発達しており、電気自動車生産には理想的な進出先となっています。事実、カルナタカ州はインド国内で初めて電気自動車に特化した政策を導入した州であり、また2001年にレバ社がインド初の電気自動車を製造したことから、インドの電気自動車発祥の地としても知られています。州都ベンガルールは世界最大の技術クラスターの一つに数えられ、世界3位の活気あるスタートアップエコシステムの存在で知られています。市内には複数のインキュベーションセンターや研究開発拠点、中学的研究機関、教養施設センターなどがあります。また、カルナタカ州はインドの電子機器製造の中心地、製品製造事業者や設計センターが集積しています。また、カルナタカ州には強力な自動車部門が存在しております。複数の OEM 大手のほか、自動車部品製造業が創業しています。カルナタカ州の EV 政策は EV 産業バリューチェーンの全体を対象としており、同産業の振興のため、さまざまな特別優遇策やイニシアチブを導入しています。EV 部門の優先事項と可能性を考慮し、カルナタカ州政府はベンガルール近郊で EV クラスターの開発を進めています。政府の積極的関与とインフラや技能、イノベーションベースといったカルナタカ州がもともと備え持っていた強みの結果、州内の既存バリューチェーンの中から有望な EV 企業が多数生まれています。カルナタカ州の安定した政策環境や世界レベルの産業インフラ、魅力的な立地にあり即時利用可能な事業地、抜群のビジネスのしやすい環境、許認可一括申請窓口、投資促進サービスや手厚い投資家支援、さらに強固な輸送・物流インフラ網などが州の EV 能力を凌駕しています。カルナタカ州にはホンダやトヨタ、三菱、そして日立といった日系企業が数多く進出し、長くそして豊かな歴史を刻んできました。日系電気自動車メーカーの皆様もカルナタカ州への投資をご検討いただき、将来の成長に向け、私たちの持つ能力をぜひご活用ください。以上です。
続きまして、グジャラート州政府産業鉱山担当上席次官 MK ダス様より、グジャラート州における電気自動車分野の投資機会についてご講演いただきます。Next, I would like to request Mr. MK Das, Principal Secretary, Industries and Mines Department, Government of Gujarat, to give the presentation on investment opportunities in EV sector in Gujarat.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to the people joining from Japan, and good morning from India. Thank you. First of all, let me extend my thanks to Embassy of India in Japan for organizing and connecting us with the potential investors. And I am the Neelam Rani, Managing Director, Industrial Extension Bureau. Next. Gujarat, as we all know, India share a long-standing partnership with Japan, and Japan has been and we share the strategic partnership with Japan, and this partnership has been further strengthened by the mutual high-level visits time to time. The recent visit the Prime Minister of Japan held in Gujarat in 2017, broadening the area of cooperation in the multiple sectors. To meet the commitment both the leaders made in their visit in Gujarat, JETRO established its office, Business Support Center in Ahmedabad in 2018, wherein 18 Japanese companies signed an MOU during the inauguration ceremony, and I am happy to note that that's all 100% industries and the companies who signed MOUs in that ceremony has been fructified. We houses more than 125 companies from Japan, and the confidence from the Japanese investors has tremendously grown in the last 5 years. That has increased from 11.3 billion to 224 billion in March 2020. I'm extremely thankful to all the investors who have reposed faith in Gujarat, and we assure you that we remain committed to deliver what we have promised our investors to deliver in Gujarat. Next. If we talk about the socio-economic snapshot of Gujarat, Gujarat is the first highly industrialized state and fast-growing state in India, and has the consistent pace of growth of double-digit in GDP that has been 13% since last 5 years. We account 17% of India's industrial output and rank first in terms of investment committed in 2019. If we talk about the domestic investment in Gujarat, it has tremendously grown very high, that is 330%. And overall FDI, which we have received in Gujarat in the last year, that is 240% of the previous years. That shows the Gujarat ecosystem and the Gujarat industrial opportunities that Gujarat offers to the industry and the confidence that investors have shown in Gujarat. The GDP stood at USD $215 billion, and we contribute 8% to the India GDP. Given the robust infrastructure and logistic support to the industries, Gujarat has been ranked first by Government of India in logistic ease across different states. Next. Gujarat government has been a proactive, stable government with the great openness and the policy stability, and time to time have taken a lot of path-breaking decisions to provide ease of doing business to the industries. The recently government has taken the labor laws ordinance that exempt the industries for 1200 days from any labor laws except the Minimum Wages Act and the Child Safety Act. Gujarat has brought in the MSME Act, wherein we exempt the MSMEs for obtaining any approval for 3 years. You can start the business the day one on a click, the day one you conceive the idea of starting the business in Gujarat. Gujarat government has always been the promoter of digitization, and we have come up with a Single Window Act, wherein we have provided an investment facilitation online portal to the investors to process all the approvals and incentive applications. Since its inception, 480,000 applications have been processed by Government of Gujarat. To handhold and boost the investment in the states, we have established a dedicated country desk and the dedicated officers and investor care cell who are taking up the matters and the problems and all kind of issues which is faced by the potential investors and our existing investors. So we do handhold throughout the business life cycle of our investors. We have come up with an Gujarat Land Bank, that is the GIS-based land mapping data that we are providing. That is available on the one click on the given link on the slide. And more than 33,000 hectare land has been mapped that provide all the detail and the supporting infrastructure around the industrial land that include healthcare, education, linkage, road, railways, etc. Government of Gujarat has matched up with all the provisions of Government of India and has been the top performer in the water management, as has been rated by the Niti Aayog. Next. Gujarat has shown the tremendous growth in multiple sectors, and the automobile and auto parts is one of the most important sector in Gujarat, and that leads the nation in the industries, the automobile industry. Gujarat not only cater the domestic need of the country, but cater the clients overseas, and with the export of $1 billion USD to more than 140 countries. We have cluster for the automobile sector that present in Sanand, Mandal, Vechraji, Hansalpur, Vichlapur, Mehsana, Halol, where a number of automotive companies have chosen to set up their business. If we talk about as a recipient of FDI, 13% of total FDI has been received in this sector, and we houses many big players that Ford, Honda, Suzuki, Tata Motors, Hero Motors in Gujarat. Next. Gujarat has competitive advantage in this sector because of the good ancillary support and the conducive ecosystem and the well-established infrastructure and the market available in Gujarat and the surrounding areas. So Gujarat have the competitive advantage for the industry. We have the backward and forwarded linkage. We have the large base of auto component supplier. We account 1/4 of India's coastline, and we give the easy access to the Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe, and other countries. And with 48 ports, we handle 40% of the cargo of India. So we gave a window to investors, the manufacturers, to export their product outside India. We have a very robust infrastructure in terms of water grid, power grid, and natural grids. I must underline that Gujarat is the first state in the country who has provided the natural gas grid connection to the industries, to the industrial estates. If we talk about the skills in Gujarat, Gujarat houses a number of ITIs and other center of excellence. We have established an Japan-India Institute of Manufacturing that is imparting the skills to requisite skills to the employees as per the requirement of the Japanese companies. The Maruti Suzuki, in collaboration with Government of Gujarat, has established an international automobile center to impart the requisite skill to the investors. So we collaborate with our investors to enhance the skill and to the requisite skills in the employees. Next. Gujarat is given the conducive environment and given the tremendous opportunity, Gujarat has emerged as a hub of EV market in India. The slide shows some of the commitments, some of the investment which has been done and announced in India. That includes the JV from Suzuki, Toshiba, and Denso that has decided to set up India's first lithium-ion battery plant with an investment of $180 million. MG Motors has started manufacturing India's first pure electric internet SUV as its Halol plant in Gujarat. JV between Exide and Launch announced production of lithium-ion batteries. Tata Motors have also started first electric car from Sanand, and Tata Chemical battery plant is coming up in Dhulera. Electrotham has also been manufacturing electronic scooters, yo-yo bike in Gujarat since 2005. So this all ecosystem that the big companies have basically realized, and that potential, they have started coming up in Gujarat. Next. Land has always been critical and imperative to the industries, and Government of Gujarat has been visionary that way. So Government of Gujarat has developed a special investment region in Dhulera that providing the requisite and the robust infrastructure to the electric vehicles. Viewing the requirement in future, that provision of EV charging infrastructure and station has already been incorporated in the master plan. That area total covers the 920 square kilometer, which is bigger than Singapore. So it's a huge area. The huge land is available in Gujarat with the required infrastructure. Dholera is one of provide the cheapest power rate in the country. Apart from Dholera, we have the Japanese township in Khoraj, which is of 600 hectare, where we have tried to provide an conduciveness and the homely environment to the Japanese investors, including the township or the residential plug and play infrastructure and the industrial land. Next. If we talk about the policy, Gujarat has also been a great promoter of green energy, green concept of saving the earth, and has been offering the assistance for procurement of electric vehicle, two-wheeler and three-wheeler vehicle that include lead acid battery and lithium battery operated vehicle. We are coming up with the new dedicated EV policy that is a comprehensive policy including charger facilities and charging infrastructures in place, and will be providing good incentive and good boost to this sector. This is underway, under approval. Soon it will be published. That the charging infrastructure and the supporting infrastructure is an imperative, considering the need that government has promoted the establishment of charging facilities. First, HPCL has set up the electric vehicle charging facility in Gujarat. The UK-based EO Charging has also set up its first free EV charging station in Ahmedabad in 2020 and plan to set up 300 more such units in the state. MGVCL and DGVCL have deployed several charging stations in the state, which will be scaled up substantially under the faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicle. So there is a comprehensive approach government has already taken up to boost the investment in EV sector. Next. I must underline that Gujarat is the right place and the right time to invest in Gujarat, and I invite all the respective companies, the participant company, come and realize the untapped potential and the opportunities Gujarat continue to offer to the electric vehicle. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
グジャラート州政府産業鉱山担当次官 MK ダス氏によるプレゼンテーションのサマリーをお伝えいたします。日本とグジャラートは2017年の安倍首相来訪以前より双方の産業担当局による定期交流を行っており、長期にわたり友好な関係を享受しています。州内には125社を超える日系企業が進出し、2018年にはジェトロのビジネスサポートセンターがアーメダバードに設立され、またスズキやダイキンといった日系企業の協力を得て、日本式ものづくり学校ジムを開校、日本の製造業で実践されてきた技能をインドの若者に伝授するなど、近年関係がさらに深まっています。グジャラート州政府は産業振興、投資誘致に積極的に取り組んでいます。2020年には新規企業を労働法の対象から1200日間除外する労働法に関する州政府名を発布。また2019年には零細中小企業による事業開始を容易にするため、すべての零細中小企業を対象としたすべての零細中小企業を認証制度の対象から3年間除外する零細中小企業令を発布するなど、ビジネスのしやすさ向上に取り組んでいます。その結果、2019年度の FDI 流入額は前年度比 240% の増加を記録しています。州内にはフォードやホンダ、スズキ、タタなど多数の自動車および自動車部品企業が集積しており、電気自動車製造の基盤が整っています。また、インドの海岸線の4分の1を有し、良好な海港、港湾施設、物流拠点が整備されており、インド国内のみならず、中東や東欧、アフリカ東部といった市場へのアクセスも良好です。また、既存の自動車産業クラスターに加え、ドレラやコラジで EV ハブの形成が進んでいます。中央政府による EV 普及政策を受け、リチウムイオン電池生産工場の開設のための合弁会社を設立したり、EV の生産を開始するなど、州内、日印、自動車企業の EV をめぐる動きが活発になってきています。グジャラート州政府も民間企業による電動二輪車や電動三輪車の調達を支援するなど、積極的に EV 関連政策を導入しています。充電ステーションといった EV 関連インフラ開発にも補助金を提供し、中央政府の EV 普及活動を後押ししています。日本企業の皆様とは長く友好的な関係を形成してきておりますが、今こそグジャラート州に進出、また投資をする良い機会だと思います。グジャラート州の持つ可能性、そして機会に対し、 投資をしていただければと思います。以上です。
Next, I would like to request Mr. Kazuhiko Hashidate, Deputy General Manager, Uno Nissan Technology and Business Center, India, to give a presentation on comprehensive approach toward zero emission society. 続きまして、日産自動車担当部長、橋立和彦様よりゼロエミッション社会に向けた総合的な取り組みについてご講演いただきます。橋立様、よろしくお願いいたします。
はい、ありがとうございます。Thank you very much. My name is Kazuhiko Hashidate from Nissan Technology and Business Center, India. I'm responsible for technical affairs for Nissan brand in India. And today, I would like to explain about Nissan's comprehensive approach toward zero emission society. So briefly, I make introduction for this presentation, and I will discuss about comprehensive approach toward zero emission society, and especially two things today. One is secondary battery usage, and one other is e-power. So there is a zero emission vehicle needs in India, and government of India is promoting electric vehicles. And behind those needs, there are some issues. So first one is India is importing depending oil import and wants to reduce by 10% comparing to 2014 and by 2022. And second one is air quality improvement. It's obvious, especially in Delhi, air quality is very poor, so we need to address this issue. And also CO2 needs to be reduced, and government sets national goal. And also government of India wants to promote Make in India and enhancing EV local manufacturing. So those issues, we as a Nissan has some solutions, and we would like to introduce some of the solutions that we have. So before we go into solutions, let me brief about Nissan's EV global snapshot. So we have introduced Leaf, first EV product for Nissan. And as of today, we have sold 478,000 units of Leaf. And I would like to stress that we have zero incident due to battery failure. So we are providing a safe EV product. And also year by year, we are increasing EV range. And we are providing product with range up to 500. So that is a brief snapshot of our EV business around the globe. So now Nissan is, yes, we are developing EV and selling EV, but also we are approaching comprehensively to solve energy environment issues. So we have developed EV and sell Leaf and other EV products. And also we are cooperating with CHAdeMO and promoting infrastructure. And also after life of EV, we are utilizing secondary battery for other purposes. And also we are developing new type of mobility. So today I would like to explain about this secondary usage of battery, and also new type of electric vehicle, e-power. So first, I would like to explain about secondary battery usage. So we created this concept called 4R concept. So we have established re-commercialization of used battery in 2010, and we also established organization called 4R Energy. So 4R stands for reuse and rehabilitate and resell and recycle. So next page, I will explain about this battery reuse business. So once after life of electric vehicle, we recover the battery, and then we bring it to 4R plant, and we quickly analyze the performance of the battery. So if the performance is still high and capacity is still high, that rate as excellent, and it goes to EV battery again. And if the battery capacity is a little bit lower than excellent, it rated as good, and it goes to forklift or stationary battery backup. And others rated as fair will be general backup battery. And we are operating this business in Japan, but in India, we think there's a potential case in India. So one is a replacement for diesel backup generator. Each household in some buildings has diesel backup generator for blackout, and this replacement will support fuel consumption reduction, and also addressing pollution, air pollution, and also using secondary usage battery, and then energy storage of renewable will be enhanced. So especially in India, I understand solar power generation is one of the focusing application for renewables, and combination with secondary usage of battery and solar power generation will increase more renewable energy usage. Second one is e-power. So this is a e-power lineup. We have 3 models in Japan, and that is new type of electric vehicle that we called. And lately, we newly introduced kicks in Japan. And so this page shows about characteristic of e-power. So e-power in electric vehicle has a common performance in a system. So 100% e-power will run with 100% motor drive, and also high commonality with battery EV. So battery and inverter and motor, those components are the common. And e-power still have internal combustion engine. However, it only used for power generation, and e-power runs 100% motor with motor. So how it supports EV production growth, and I think it may contribute making India EV in India. So e-power production is a little bit lower than EV production, because battery capacity is lower and recharging system is not included. So it's easy to start production. And there are many common EV parts used by e-Power. So as the unit number of e-Power increase, cost of e-Power train will be lower. So in the future, EV vehicle, electric vehicle production will be increased. So that is the what we think about enhancement of EV production by utilizing e-Power. So this is the last page. So Nissan has an approach, comprehensive approach to solve energy and environment issue. And today I only talk about e-Power and the secondary usage of battery, but also we are working on many applications like vehicle to home and charging infrastructure, in a combination of infrastructure and vehicles as a society. So anybody who has an interest of working together to create EV ecosystem in India, I would like to discuss about future activity. So please contact us. Okay, thank you very much. That's all.
日産自動車ルノー日産インド開発センター担当部長橋立和彦様によるプレゼンテーションのサマリーをお伝えいたします。本日は日産のゼロエミッション社会に向けた総合的な取り組みについてご説明いたします。インドは石油輸入量の削減、大気質の改善、CO2 排出削減、メイクインインディアの推進といった課題を抱えています。ゼロエミッション車メーカーである日産には解決策があります。詳細に入る前に、日産の世界での EV 販売状況をご説明いたします。2020年6月現在、日産は世界60カ国以上で EV 車リーフを販売、累計47万8000台を売り上げています。これだけの台数を販売してまいりましたが、今までバッテリー起因の重大事故を起こしたことはございません。安全安心な EV をご提供していると自負しております。日産は世界で EV を販売するだけでなく、ゼロエミッション社会の実現に向け、総合的なアプローチでエネルギー、環境問題に取り組んでいます。本日は時間が限られるため、バッテリーリユース事業、そして e-Power の2点についてご説明いたします。日産は 4R エナジー社を設立、2010年からバッテリーリユース事業に参入しています。EV から取り外したバッテリーを分解、性能評価を行った後、さまざまな用途で使用できるよう、モジュールを再組み立てした後販売しています。状態の良好なものは自動車用に、やや劣化が進んだものはフォークリフトや建物のバックアップ電源に転用しています。バッテリーの再利用は CO2 の削減やリソースの有効活用につながります。インドにおいては、停電時のバックアップ用ディーゼル発電機の置き換えニーズがあると考えています。また、ソーラー発電といった再生可能エネルギーの蓄電池としての利用が広まれば、再生可能エネルギーの利用促進につながると考えています。日産では新しい EV の形として2017年からノート e-Power の販売を開始。現在はセレナ、新機種キックスと合わせて3車種を展開しています。e-Power に搭載されているエンジンは発電専用で、走行時は電気モーターのみを使用。バッテリー EV と共通部品が多く、EV のコスト低減に貢献しています。さて、e-Power がどのように EV の生産向上に貢献するのか、それは e-Power の生産コストの低さです。バッテリー EV より生産コストが低いにもかかわらず、共通部品が多いため、e-Power が増産されれば、おのずと EV 部品の価格を押し下げます。結果、EV 部品全体のコスト低減、ひいては EV 本体の低価格化にもつながり、メーカーにとって生産がしやすくなります。このように、日産の e-Power 車は、自動車電化及び自動車産業の発展に貢献することができるのです。本日は時間が限られていたため、日産の総合的なアプローチの中からバッテリーの二次利用 e-Power についてのご説明をいたしました。それ以外にも充電元としての車両の利用ですとか、充電ステーションの開発といった多角的な事業にも関わっております。 ご興味をお持ちの方、またインド国内における EV 環境の構築に協力していただける企業の皆様からのご連絡、ご相談をお待ちしております。以上です。
続きまして、インベストインディア、プラナティ・チェスター・コヒリ様より FDI 政策及び閉会のご挨拶をいただきます。Next, I would like to request Ms. Pranati Chester Kohili, Invest India, to give the presentation on FDI facilitation and vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, moderator, and thank you so much, everyone. This panel has been most conducive, and the entire conversation has been very interesting. In conclusion of the panel, I would just like to introduce Invest India, which is the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency working directly under Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. Specifically in Ministry of Commerce, we work under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. I would request the moderator to showcase the presentation.
Yes, ma'am. We are going to show. Please
Okay,
go
please,
ahead with your presentation first.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency, our role is largely divided into 3 buckets. Yes, that's much better. Great. So as I previously mentioned, we work with the central government, but we also work very closely with state governments. At the central level, we align very, very closely with foreign missions as well as foreign agencies and work with them, not just for country collaboration, but also sector collaboration. I work specifically with the electric mobility automobile team at Invest India. And we also have a dedicated desk, Japan Plus desk, that works with Japanese investors interested in the Indian market. There are multiple parameters along which we work. So the first one, of course, is awareness and engagement, where we try to showcase the India opportunity to foreign investors. The second one, we work towards business advisory. Business advisory includes everything that the investment life cycle would include. So right from market analysis all the way to commencement of production. We help with incentive advisory, we help with policy advocacy, we help with location assessment, incentive advocacy, all of those things, stakeholder mapping, stakeholder engagement, all of them are covered under our business advisory practice. The second important bucket of what we do is policy advocacy. So, given that electric mobility is such a nascent field, one of the things that our team specifically has been doing is working directly with central government as well as with state governments to ensure that the ecosystem and the government is working directly with businesses as well as business associations to ensure all voices are heard and incentives are given to promote the sector. We have worked with a few states in the past and we continue to do so. And when we engage with states, what becomes really important is investor feedback. So we're very much looking forward to working with all the investors in that regard as well. A third important aspect of what we do is partnerships as well. The manner in which we conduct partnerships is very different. We work directly, Startup India is directly under Invest India. So we work with a lot of Indian startups, and especially in the electric mobility space, we've noticed there is a lot of traction in Indian startups. So that is an exercise that we undertake as well. We request investors to conduct their own due diligence, but we have connects in the Indian industry that we can support the investor with. In addition to that, one of the most promising things that Invest India does is the query portal. We have to date resolved approximately 232,000 business requests in a span of 24 to 36 hours. We currently work with 37 states and union territories, like I previously mentioned. In addition to that, we are also working with 159 nations at the moment to support investors looking to come into the Indian economy. We work across 40 sectors. Like I mentioned, I specifically look at the electric mobility sector, but we work across sectors. And one thing that we've noticed with the electric mobility is that the electronics as well as the energy sectors become very relevant. So we have sectors for those also at Invest India. And to date, we have facilitated total of $136 billion. This is our pipeline at the moment. These are investors that we're actively working with, have facilitated in the past, and will continue to provide support to moving forward. We can move on to the next slide. So this is just an example of a case study of a success story, if you will, of a Japanese apparel company that we had supported in India. You can see, of course, that within a span of a year and a half, we were able to support the company right from, market analysis to FDI regulations, preliminary meeting with the company, all the way to final stages of store opening, the brick and mortar store opening. So we help, as is mentioned, with not just with application, but also with custom duty analysis. Once you share with us THS code, we'll be able to very easily provide you with the custom duty on your raw material as well as capital goods is. And any clarifications that are required on regulatory matters, we are more than happy to provide and able to provide. It is important to mention that Invest India works on a pro bono basis, and since we're aligned directly with the government, we're uniquely positioned to support such companies looking to come into India. Moving on. The last thing that I would like to talk about is Japan Plus Desk. Like I previously mentioned, it is a desk that is set up exclusively for Japanese investors. My colleagues have actively been working towards, enabling the Japanese ecosystem in India. And we have partnered up with METI, which is the ministry in Japan, for this desk specifically. We also have members from METI that are METI and JETRO that are currently sitting at Invest India. And we essentially provide hand-holding services to Japanese investors as well as fast-track issue resolution for established companies in the country. The Japan Plus desk is currently facilitating 97 companies worth a total of $1.8 billion US dollars. That's all from my end, and Invest India is very much looking forward to working with other such companies that are looking to come into India across sectors. I specifically look at the electric mobility sector, and I would be very keen to engage with all of you to better understand your business proposals, any clarification that is sought on the electric mobility landscape in India, considering there are 12 ministries that are actively working towards making this mission a reality. We would strongly urge you to connect with us either on social media or via query portal or through our email addresses so that we can help you navigate these 12 ministries and take forward your investment in the country in a seamless manner. Thank you very, very much.
インベストインディアプランド THS タコヒル氏によるプレゼンテーションのサマリーをお伝えいたします。本日のウェビナーにご参加いただきました皆様、誠にありがとうございます。本日のウェビナーの内容が有用でありますことを祈りつつ、本日のウェビナーの最後となりますが、私どもインベストインディアについてご紹介させていただきたく存じます。インベストインディアはインド政府商工省直下の単位投資促進機関です。インドを投資先として宣伝するほか、インドへの進出を希望される外国企業の皆様に、進出先選定からパートナー企業の紹介、投資後の事業拡大支援など、在院の外国公館や中央、州政府、各産業団体と緊密に連携し、包括的な投資支援サービスを提供しています。インベストインディアでは投資初期の支援だけではなく、進出後の長期支援が重要であると考えています。2018年に6月に開催されたメイキンインディア投資セミナーをきっかけに、インド参入のご相談を受けた日系アパレルメーカーへの支援事例をご案内いたします。初期段階においては、直接海外投資関連の許可申請や各種規則、調達などについて情報を提供いたしました。その後、物品サービス税や公害規制、輸出規制、輸入規制、ラベリングに関する規制などについて情報を提供。さらに、進出後の事業運営に関わるご質問にも対応、申請支援も行いました。現在、この企業はインドに進出、事業を展開しています。私たちは、現在もこの企業に対する支援を継続しており、今後の事業拡大を踏まえ、関連税制や追加投資などについてアドバイスを行っています。なお、インベストインディア内には、日本の投資家専用窓口、ジャパンプラスデスクが開設されています。ジャパンプラスデスクは日本の経済産業省とのパートナーシップを通じ開設されたもので、 日本企業によるインドの各産業部門への投資を手厚く支援し、問題が起きたときには迅速に対応、早期の問題解決を目指しています。現在は97社、総額約18億ドルの投資案件を取り扱っています。今回のウェビナーを通じて、インド市場への参入をご検討されている EV 企業の皆様からの事業内容についての事業提案や、また EV 政策についてのご質問などをお待ちしております。連絡先といたしましては、SNS や E メールなどがございます。ぜひ、私どもに投資案件についてのご質問などをお寄せいただければと思います。本日は誠にありがとうございました。以上です。
Natsumi, please unmute.
大変失礼いたしました。ここで質疑応答の時間ですが、この後のネットワーキングの時間を取るために、いただいたご質問は、パネリストより直接ご回答させていただきました。As we would like to spare time for a networking session, all the questions received by the participants have been answered from panelists directly. ここからはオンラインネットワーキングの時間とさせていただきます。会社案内を希望する企業様は、手を挙げるをクリックしてください。ただいま表示しているリストは、B2B ネットワーキングに関心を示していただいた日本の企業様とインドの企業様のリストでございます。Now, we will have online networking session. If you would like to introduce your company, please raise your hand by the Zoom function. The list we show at the screen is Japanese companies, which indicated their interest to B2B meetings, and Indian companies. オンラインネットワーキングに参加される企業様は、お名前、企業名に続き、1、2分で自社の会社紹介をお願いいたします。参加者は、チャット機能を通して、各自 B2B ミーティングを設定いただきます。In this session, we may request companies to mention your name, company name, and introduce about your company in 1 to 2 minutes. それでは、はじめ。それでははじめに、亀田様、スペースペース亀田様、いらっしゃいますでしょうか。Mr. Kameta from Space. Mr. Krish.
Thank you. Now I got access. Thank you. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I'm speaking from my home in Roppongi in Tokyo. We recently, do you see our screen, PowerPoint? Yes.
Yes,
okay.
We can see you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We are a Japanese company called Space. We have Singapore and then California branch as well. And recently awarded the top PropTech company in Dragon Prey, which is the largest accelerator in the world. headquartered in California. Today, I try to introduce this auto navigation systems. We set the sensors, we call it the height detector, and then sense the three-dimensional shake of the building through the smartphone shake. And with using those IoT devices, we can navigate the car. We got a lot of patents around the blockchains. We also filed that one. And we have the tokenization platform. So we're gonna launch with big construction companies. And this is the earthquake scheme. We put the sensor and then detect the shake of the building 3D, and then let the AIs to machine learn and then create the digital twin simulated model for the better and then tougher building structure. We use the tokenization structure so that we collect the data for the machine learning, and then we issue the token. And the token can be a exchange for the US dollar and a Singapore dollar. Now, US dollar is also derived through the exchanges. So we issue the token to create this program. And then these are the earthquake data stored in the blockchain. And then this is the simulation model. We already tied up with the Takenaka, Kajima, and recently Shimizu-san and other, we started to talk with the Denso from Japan and SoftBank. So we want to create the Siberian Alliance next, and that's the timeline for the first committee that we're gonna host. And then we want to create a subcommittee for automobile and home appliances, because we're gonna secure the home appliances through the IoT devices. Anyway, so if you are interested, please contact. I will share the email address later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, 菅野様、いらっしゃいますでしょうか。
はい、います。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
はい。Hello everyone. My name is Kano, and I represent Nikkei MC Aluminium, a joint venture between Nippon Light Metal and Mitsubishi Corporation, which develops and manufactures aluminum alloys for the aluminum casting and die casting industry. At our R&D center in Koda, we strive on a daily basis to providing our customers with innovative solutions which help them satisfy their needs in terms of high thermal conductivity, high elongation, and improved surface treatment, among others. Our international presence, we have 2 plants in India. One is Bawang and another is in Gujarat. 2 plants in Thailand and 1 plant in China, and the US and Mexico. Along the years has helped us build a long-term relationship with our clients on a worldwide scale. Lightweight and performance are our focus and our customers' satisfaction. And we believe we can play a key role in supporting the Indian industry in the transition to the next generation vehicles. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So next, the Oaknet Inc. Fuji Dice Corporate Limited, Hakata International, Hitachi High-Tech, Kanematsu Corporation, Maxell Limited, NEC, Nihon Denki Corporate Limited, Nittoku Corporate Limited, Reifen Hauser India Market Private Limited, San-Eki Limited, Six Corporation, Symphonia Technology Corporate Limited, SMC Corporation India Private Limited, Sunwell Solutions Corporate Limited, Takubo Engineering Corporate Limited, Temiko Motor India, Tokyo Viola Koki Corporate Limited, Toyota Tsusho India Private Limited, Will Eco Corporate Limited, Yokogawa India Limited.
इसको बोलो 2-3 लोगों ने हाथ रेज किया है, उसको बुला ले.
Sekar, Mr. Sekar.
Hello, this is Krishna here for Yokogawa. Yokogawa India Limited. Can I share my screen?
Yes, please share your screen.
Share it. Can you authorize share?
So, you can share your screen from the bottom green button.
Yeah, but it is not highlighted. Share is not highlighted.
Yeah.
I think the permission has to be given for me. Oh, it's okay. I can go on orally. Okay.
Yes. Now we can see your face.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So, my name is Krishna and I'm from Yokogawa Electric Corporation. So I belong to Yokogawa India Limited. So Yokogawa Electric Corporation is basically incepted in 1915, and in India we are dealing with industrial automation as well as test and measurement equipment. So I belong to the test and measurement group. So basically we are into process industries and automotive and energy and power industries we cater to. So these are some of our products. So if somebody is interested, we would be glad to serve them. And this is how our test and measurement business is distributed. So you can see the power distribution and also renewable energy and automotive and many industrial products we have like power analyzers and power meters and things like that. So any requirement from anybody in today's meeting, we would be glad to serve you. And these are some of our key Yokogawa test and measurement products. So we have ranging from scope carder and mixed signal oscilloscope to AC power calibrator and various ranges of optical products for communication testing. And Yokogawa India is headquartered in Bangalore. So we have 12 offices in Japan and over 100 offices outside Japan. And this is how in India we are placed. Okay, it's headquartered in Bangalore, but we have our regional offices in New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, and Baroda. And we do deal with 20 channel partners. And myself and Masayuki Yuka-san, anybody wants more information, please contact us. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So anybody from India side? Please raise your hand or speak if you want to introduce about your company. 会社紹介したい企業様いらっしゃいませんでしょうか。インド側からでも日本側からでもどちらでも構いません。はい、ラーニシュリーニバスさん。Yes. Please introduce about your company.
Hi, everybody. This is Rani Srinivas, and then I'm an ex-Tesla employee, and then I'm representing a company called 021. We are into three-wheelers, electric three-wheelers manufacturing in India. We have just started in 2.5 years back. We have invented and then filed a patent for a three-wheeler conversion kit, which especially for our three-wheeler passenger vehicles and goods carrying also, because we have more than 40 million three-wheeler passenger vehicles in India. We are into, apart from this conversion kit, we are also into a three-wheeler manufacturing, and then we would like to invite hub motor concept people from Japanese technologies also into India. And then we are doing a high-end three-wheeler, which will be smart mobility, and not just having an internet, but should also identify the problems. And then IoT, which we would like to introduce on the vehicles. And then probably in next 6 months, we will be introducing our first version in goods carrying vehicles as well as passenger vehicles in India. This is 021. You can contact me. My name is Rani. I'm a founder and CEO of this company. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, any other company would like to introduce yourself? B2B ミーティングに興味のある、会社様のリストを表示しております。
There is a question.
Yes, the question. Yes. So he would like us to share the material, presentation material of opening remarks and sector outline. Yeah, I will. Yeah, we will send you back by email. So please send an email to Embassy of India, Tokyo. ご質問いただいた方、メールで、ご質問いただけますでしょうか。そうしましたら、こちらから資料をお送りするようにいたします。Any other company would like to introduce yourself?
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
This is Shekhar Rao from Toyota Tusho, India. We are into the lithium-ion battery materials, and we are using our mining in Argentina for lithium carbonate in helping Indian companies setting up lithium-ion battery cell manufacturing. And we are present in the value chain from cathode, anode, separators, as well as electrolyte. So those companies who are interested in the lithium carbonate as well as lithium hydroxide, we can help them in the supply chain management. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is there any other company who would like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good afternoon, Lord.
Hi.
This is
yes, please.
From Temico Motor India. this company is a joint venture between Mutsi and Co. Japan and Teco, and our company is into the production of electric motors and electric powertrains. So our company will be starting the manufacturing in India from the second quarter of 2021. And if any of the OEMs or any companies who is interested to source electric motors and electric powertrains, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other company? 他に会社案内したい企業様いらっしゃいませんでしょうか。その他の企業様、リストに書いてある企業様と個別にミーティングを希望される場合は、インド大使館の経済商務部でメールでご連絡くださいませ。If you would like to have a B2B meeting with a listed company, please email to Embassy of India, Tokyo, Economic and Commerce Wing. If no one else to introduce, I would like to close the networking session.
Just screen out the companies. Just show the list on the screen so that you can note down.
It's fine.